What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and hope everybody's doing well on this Saturday morning. It doesn't quite feel like Saturday, does it? It felt like Saturday yesterday. Today, it just kind of feels like a weekday. It's weird. I hardly ever know what day of the week it is anyway, so it's not that big a deal. But in any case, I hope you all are having a good day. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Obviously, football is back. FA Cup quarterfinals kicked off today with Palace easily handling Fulham 3-0. I forget what the other game is today. I think there's more games tomorrow, but we'll keep an eye on that. But we are back today with a Man United News Roundup. A little bit of United transfer news to go over today. We've got a few injury updates and some updates regarding academy players as well. So that is what we have on deck today. Let me see who's getting involved. Danny B in the house. Hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you again. He's got that contract emoji. Big hug. He's doing all the emojis out there, right? For some reason they do not show up on my streaming platform. That's messed up. But you guys can see him on your end, hopefully, in the live chat. But big up, Danny. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're having a good Saturday. First, before I dive into the news, though, I got to get your feedback on that first episode of What If. I saw a couple of you left some comments. Really happy. Really, I was mostly interested in hearing what your guys' feedback was on that one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If not, if you want to see something, if there's something you guys would prefer in terms of adding to it or not putting in there, let me know. I'm all about feedback. I had fun doing it. It is a little fun to kind of imagine an alternate timeline, right, on how things would have gone differently. But I'm always more concerned with your opinion. So I have loads more of those in the chamber. I've got like 10 more and a couple that I've already pretty much finished up. So keep a lookout for more of those. I do have fun doing them. I know that it's always fun to imagine a little bit. Danny says, great video it was. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. It was a little interesting, right, to think about an alternate universe where Jose Mourinho would have taken over immediately for Sir Alex and how all that would have looked. Danny, I know you had a couple of really good striker shouts in there as well. There's loads in there. You could have said almost anybody around that time, right? I think I landed on Edin Dzeko because when I think of Jose Mourinho style striker, I think of guys like Lukaku, guys like Drogba, guys like Ibra, guys like Edin Dzeko. Those are the big, burly kind of guys. So, but again, it's all imagination, so there's not really right and wrong. But I did have fun. But like I said in the video, it is interesting though how when you start to kind of go down those little rabbit trails, how not far-fetched some of that stuff sounds, right? You're like, actually, I could see that happening. But in any case, there will be more, and hopefully you guys do enjoy those. So let's get stuck in. Anyone also on Hayden Hackney Watch, Borough did kick off at 11 today, so they're about half hour into their match, and he has started, so anyone can go watch that. But hit the like button, please, for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check the membership perks to learn how you can have a say in the content we put out here, including scouting reports, questions from a boot, or the what if episodes. You can have options on there to get involved with that as well. So and I always forget about the link to GoGoalShop if you guys want to get your hands on some excellent quality United gear, but don't want to drop 150 at the mega store. Check out GoGoalShop. If you use the link in there, they use the special code in there. They did hook me up with $5 off of your first order. So check that out when you get a second if you guys are interested in that. Danny said, like you said, it probably would have only lasted 2 years. Yeah, Jose does always last 2 years, but I still hold fast to my belief that with the squad that Jose would have inherited immediately after Fergie retired, I think that he would have done something more the following year. Definitely wouldn't have gotten sacked in 7 months. But I think Jose was probably one of the only men, maybe a prime Antonio Conte, but at the time Conte wasn't in his prime. But I think Jose at that time was one of the only managers who could have gotten more out of that squad. So, but big up, yeah, big up, Danny. So let's dive right in, you guys, because starting first and foremost, big up to the under 21, specifically youngster Sekou Kone for his man of the match performance with the under 21s. I think that was yesterday. United were down 2-0 for a while, but Kone scored an absolute perler when corner kick deflected back out to him at the edge of the box, and he half volleyed it into the top netting. Here, I'll put it up for you guys so you guys can see it.
Whack, off he gets. Is the delivery for Manchester
Look at
United.
this. Half volley, boom.
Oh, it's brilliant.
So
Sekou Kone on the volley.
Big up.
Drives it home. And we have got game on at Thorpe Arch.
You guys want to watch
Leeds
it again? Watch it
United
one more
2.
time.
Face there.
I've watched this so many times right now.
Up he gets. Is the delivery for
What a good
Manchester
corner,
United.
too. And he's like,
Kone's gonna have a
and
goal.
Kone's
It's brilliant.
body is sort of
Sekou
facing
Kone
away
on
from
the
the goal,
volley.
and he gets his. That's the important
Drives it
part
home.
too with these volleys. You got to get your hips over the ball. You got to kind of almost aim down with the shot when you're doing it. Otherwise, it's gonna go. You're gonna sky it, you know. So, but big up Sekou Kone. What a great strike that was from him. Beautiful technique. The corner was like perfect delivery as well. Pinged in, a little bit of backlift on it. That was beautiful. But he came on, did that, and then he won the pen. They gave us the equalizer too. He's very, very good on the ball. Very good carrying the ball, Sekou Kone. He's just got energy to burn too, man. At the end of the day, though, Sekou Kone has arrived, so be prepared for that. In terms of sticking with the academy news, so I posted the other day, but United are also looking to tie Goodwill Kukonki down to his first professional contract now that he's 20 or 17. So keep a lookout for that. We are trying to keep hold of these youngsters. And again, the academy is super stacked because on top of that, Bendito Montato has trained with the first team this week on the back of that report coming from the Academy Scoop. Good channel, by the way, Academy Scoop. That he's another one that United are trying to try down to his first professional contract as well. So look out for the announcement sometime this week, probably Monday, right? Because that's when we do things. But Montato training with the first team. Thwaites joined him for that. Kukonki was there. And then also Reese Monroe. All four of those guys were training with the first team. So the future definitely looks bright. I'm super excited. I know not everyone is as interested in the academy, and I get not everyone's got time. I mean, same with the women's team. Sometimes I get it, but we've done some watch-alongs, and I think that when you see the academy players in mind, I mean, even just going when Justin and I were there a couple months ago and we saw them play in person, it was awesome. Like the levels in our academy right now are very, very good. Then he says he will definitely be in the squad next season. We've got a couple of youngsters I think are pushing to make a first team debut before the end of this season. I fully believe Camison. Again, I know Cheeto is going to get off. He's going to get a goal, at least a goal before the end of the season. I feel like it's coming with him. The same way I felt that way about Hoyland, and then he started scoring, and then he started scoring again. So I like what I see right now. I'm getting a feeling. There's like a vibe building up right now between the academy, the players getting back fit, nobody got injured, people getting back into form. Like I feel like things are starting aligning. I think we can make a really good push to the end of the season. And this is probably the most optimistic right now, the mood right now with our Europa League hopes as well. So I'm not going to go too far on that, but this is, I would say right now, I'm the most optimistic I've been. I probably would have been more optimistic had Licha not gotten injured, but it is what it is. And Ahmad too. So the photos from training, though, they showed the youngsters getting stuck in, getting in and around the mix, joking around with the first teamers. But eagle-eyed United fans who saw those photos will have noticed a few missing faces, and that's Kobbie Mainoo and Aiden Heaven. So Heaven is still recovering from that ankle injury he picked up against Leicester, but he should be back in a couple weeks. We got some reports from Lori Whitwell, remember, so could see Heaven back in a few weeks. Mainoo, however, has been out since February, if you guys remember. Now, Sky Sports claims that while Mainoo's not back with the first team, he is doing individual training and he is back on grass. So that's a good sign. But the problem for me is Mainoo, he really can't afford too many more injuries, especially during these contract talks. That can't be helping his side of things in terms of contract talks. He's got a lot of injuries. He's already missed 40 matches for United since he broke into the first team last year. And he's already had 2 separate muscle injuries this season, and he's missed 19 matches this season alone. So right now, for me, I'm not writing him off or anything. I'm just saying right now, my only concern with Mainoo, not wages, not how he fits into the system. My concern with him is injuries. So we'll see what happens. He's only been playing first team football for a little over a year, and he's missed a lot of it from muscle injuries. So. But Lenny Yoro has declared himself back fit. He's back training. He feels good, no pain. So we could see Lenny Yoro back as well. So really, really excited for that. Usman, good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Thanks for stopping by today, man. Hope everyone's enjoying their weekend so far. But big up, Usman. Good to see you. So let's move on to some transfer news. Now, this, I got to give credit where it's due. This one came from our boy Danny B in the house here. But he did put me on to this rumor that I had to go do a little digging, and I did find it. So I don't want to alarm anyone. I don't want to give anyone false hope. But I was informed by Danny B that United have been linked. I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to jinx it. We have been linked with Arden Jashari. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to go crazy. Cooler than the other side of the pillow, this guy right now. Oh my God. Arden Jashari, we have been linked. This is coming from Calcio Mercato. They claim United are considering a swoop for Jashari. He's said to be attracting attention from multiple clubs in Europe. He's got heightened interest coming from Italy and Premier League. As I've said in numerous streams, I've discussed Jashari. I could be director of football. I'm just saying I could. Club Brugge paid like $5 million for this guy in the summer. They already gave him a new contract. It'll take probably around $30 million, give or take a couple million either side of that. I told you, this guy's gonna be huge. Danny's got everything crossed. Literally, cross everything. Cross your ears, cross your toes, cross your fingers, cross your nostrils, cross everything. Try to get this over the line if possible. And again, they're linked, but I'm trying not to get excited. But you guys know how much I love Arden Jashari. He's a complete midfielder, and I don't use that term lightly. He's a complete midfielder, and he's class. He's going to be the next big midfielder on top of like João Neves, and then Jashari's coming through. Big up, Lionhearts. Good to see you, my friend. We're just living in hopes and dreamland right now with Arden Jashari links. But thank you, Danny, for putting me onto that rumor, and then turning me into a hopeless, optimistic United fan. But we'll see what happens there. I would love it if we got that one over the line. I think he suits the system perfectly. He does everything you want on and off the ball. He defends. He advances the ball up the pitch with his long balls, with his incisive through balls, with his dribbling. He's such a good player. So, Jay, big up, man. What type of player is Jashari? He's a central midfielder, plays for Club Brugge. I would call him like a deep-lying playmaker. Like Danny says, he's kind of like a little bit of a De Jong and a Vitinha. His defensive numbers are pretty good as well. He's got a build kind of like a Hazard, like a little lower center of gravity, which he's really good at press resist. He's really press resistant because of that low center of gravity. Excellent passing range. Does get stuck in on and off the ball. He had a pair of assists a couple weeks ago last time I spoke about him. He should have more assists. He would have had 2 more assists in the game that I was watching one weekend, but his attackers didn't finish their chances. And he had an excellent Champions League match against Atalanta. He put Ederson in his pocket during that match, and that's the big match I think that put him on a lot of people's radar as well. But excellent deep line playmaker, very physical. Again, he reminds me a lot of João Neves as well, but he's left-footed, going to be excellent. So stick him in that pivot next to Ugarte, and I think you're going to see some magic happen. So, but again, I don't want to alarm anyone. I don't want to give false hope, but it was hard for me not to get gassed. And like Danny says, yeah, he bossed the game against Celtic too in Champions League. Yeah, he'll cost a little. Club Brugge are going to make like 6, maybe even 7 times what they paid for him, but they knew what they had. It didn't take long for them to know. And I've done a scout report on him. He was in my summer rebuild video. Go check out those videos if you want to learn more about him. But the guy is absolute class. And I'd want to jump on that before he goes to the next club, before he goes someplace like Benfica or something, and then he's going to cost twice as much in another year or two. So get him now and then see what you're working with. Sticking with midfield for a moment. So this is coming from Graham Bailey. He reports that United had scouts in attendance at the under-21 match between England and France last week. Now, there are a couple names mentioned, one of whom is young French midfielder Ayoub Bouadi. Is that how you say his name? He plays for Lille. He's a young defensive midfielder. We've been linked to him before, I think, a while back. So that was one name that was thrown out as a possible target. Rayan Cherki played in that match and had a goal and 2 assists. No big deal. Rayan Cherki, you guys know how I feel about Cherki. The guy is an absolute beautiful attacking midfielder. I would love him at United. So United doing their diligence, linked all sorts of players, including strikers. Lots of striker news today. Gyökeres, Osimhen, Jonathan David, and then oddly enough, Hugo Ekitike. We've been linked to all these guys in recent weeks. Now, enter Florian Plettenberg, who claims that United's interest in Ekitike in particular is growing. And not only that, Frankfurt are well aware of our reported interest and are now demanding £67 million for anyone interested in Ekitike. That's a lot, in my opinion, for a kid who's had one good season. I'm not saying he's bad, but you guys know it takes more than one good season right now. I mean, the example I always give is Andrea Bellotti. Can anyone tell me where Andrea Bellotti is right now? Or Gonçalo Ramos, for that matter, or Darwin Núñez. What has Darwin Núñez really been doing at Liverpool, if we're all being quite honest? Kolo Muani, or Sergio Guirassy, they're not really. I gotta see more than just one breakout season, right? But anyway, a lot of people like Ekitike. I think a lot of people are jumping on it because he's hyped up right now, but very similar profile to Alexander Isak. I'm not entirely convinced that Ekitike is the difference maker in terms of going from where you are now to challenging for anything. I don't think he does that. He's a good striker. He would be good. I think he'd be a great pickup for someone like, I don't know, like Brighton, Villa, probably. I think someone like that, young striker to build around. He's a team where he doesn't have to be the one solely responsible for all the goals. Is probably where Ekitike would fit in, yes. So, I mean, he is having a great season. Like I said, he did have a hat trick against England, the under-21s, in that same match that Turkey got that pair of assists and that goal. But this is Ekitike's first good season since that 11-goal season at Rams. That was 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm just not going too soon with him. So Danny says, yeah, paying that money, we have to try to get Gyökeres. Yeah, again, it comes down to that. Like, if you're spending this much money, why wouldn't you go get somebody else who has had a larger sample size, who's been doing it for seasons, like a Jonathan David, like a Gyökeres. You can get Gyökeres for roughly the same. You're not going to have him for as long, but he's also proven that he can do it not only over a couple seasons on Champions League, but he can do it in England. Gyökeres, people forget he was bossing it at Coventry. So Danny says, if not Cunha, not paying crazy money for anyone else. Yeah, again, you don't pay it all at once, right? But at the same time, it's about investment, and that to me is a big risky investment for someone who's had one decent season. Let someone else go and see if it's worth it. Maybe Arsenal will go after him if they want Isak so much. Arsenal, I mean, Ekitike is pretty much similar players. So Ekrem Koner, another journalist, has also reminded us of United's reported interest in Porto striker Samu. Remember, we were linked with him a couple months back. But he has reminded us that we are still keeping a close eye on this kid. Again, another one who's having a good season. Let's just hold off. It's easy, to get overhyped, but we'll see. Again, I'm not saying anyone's bad. Maybe I'm a little too conservative. Maybe I'm a little too hesitant. Maybe I'm just a little too, gun shy after being burned by, one good season every now and then. But we'll see. And then we got some more Victor Osimhen links from Graham Bailey. He reports that United know that Victor Osimhen, they've been told that Osimhen would still be willing to join us even without Champions League football. I mean, yeah, probably for big wages. I mean, the guy's already on a lot of wages. And for me, that is a bigger deal than transfer fee, because, again, transfer fee is amortized. Wages, you have to pay no matter what. I mean, that's why we're getting killed with Casemiro. I mean, we're still paying off the transfer fee, right? But Casemiro's on nearly $400K a week. He's on 350, 375. And that's like 17, 18 million a year just in wages on top of the amortization of the fee. So we're probably paying 25 million a year just for Casemiro alone, between the breakdown of the transfer fee and then the wages. Like, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. So that's a big part of why I'm not a big fan of the Osimhen deal. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but you can get a player of similar quality for much less, whether that's Gyökeres, who's on a third of those wages, or Jonathan David, who is a free agent, for instance. So that's why I'm not too big on Oshman. So, but you guys let me know, would you still do the Oshman deal? I mean, we've seen it before. Players will, in the past, again, this is a new regime. I'm trying to keep that in mind. But in the past, we were able to get players like Di Maria and whatnot and whoever without Champions League simply because we offered them so much money. I like to think that Ineos aren't that foolish anymore, especially with all the financial situation. It's more likely that we're going to miss out on players because of the financial stuff in terms of wages than we're going to overpay. Then he says maybe Napoli would take Luke Shaw. Maybe. I mean, Shaw's best position these days is probably going to be a left center back in a 3. He's not going to get up and down the pitch anymore. It's definitely not going to be. And especially with him being out again for so long, it's going to be Shaw's not going to be back fully fit until the fall, probably. Just not just like fully fit in terms of I can play now, but just match fitness, getting back up to speed, getting all that rust off. He probably won't be 100% match fit by the end of the season for sure. Danny says, man, maybe I take Oshman. Yeah, if there's a way to get somebody with big wages off the books, I just don't want to be spending that much on wages. You know, Oshman's already on like what, $200K a week. There's not necessary. Lionheart says, call me crazy, but I want Shaw to stay. I mean, in an ideal world, if Shaw was fit, he'd suit this system like a glove, right? He just can't stay fit. Same with Mount. I can't plan on him as part of the squad anymore. You guys, I wasn't even listed in my summer rebuild for the squad because he's not really a part of the squad anymore, unfortunately. So it's I mean, I'm not laughing at him, like, and I don't blame him, but I'm like, it just is what it is. So what are you going to do? Let's move higher up the pitch here. So Graham Bailey is full of rumors this weekend, but he claims that Cristiano Ronaldo has advised Francisco Trincao to join Manchester United. Now, we talked about Trincao the other day when he was first linked earlier this week. I'm not convinced on Trincao. He was great at Braga, and then he made his move to the Premier League, right? I think he was at Wolves. I can never remember the order that he moved in, but I can only go by what I've seen in the Premier League. And in the Premier League, he wasn't really very good. Didn't really convince me. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of factors involved. Wolves, the status of Wolves at the time and whatnot. But he's moved around so much, and now he's at Sporting. I mean, he was at Barca, he was at Wolves. And he's never really, really convinced. Again, but this is the Anthony situation all over again. You look really good in one league, struggle in another, maybe bounce around, you find yourself back in the Portuguese league, or in Anthony's case, the La Liga, and that's your level. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm just better suited to the way football is played in this league. That it just is what it is. But I haven't been convinced of Trincao. Bailey adds that apparently Diogo Dalot and Bruno Fernandes have also been pushing Trincao to make the move to Old Trafford as well. If he was a better player, yeah, I think he would do very well in that system that we play in one of those 10s. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe that could be the difference. Maybe he's never really had a chance to play in like one of those kind of 10 roles like Ahmad and Garnacho play a little bit. Maybe that could be the difference. I don't know. But he was a winger at Braga. He hasn't really played in like a 3-4-2-1. So you guys let me know, though, if you guys like Trincao. I know this is a time of year a lot of people just want signings. They don't really care who it is necessarily. I'm not saying that you guys. We have to start being a little bit more wise with those decisions, or else we're just going to never get out of this cycle. So it's probably going to look this summer like we're moving a lot slower than a lot of people want. And that's going to frustrate me. That's going to frustrate you guys. I know that. And so we got to find that balance between like, hey, we need to get our business done, and hey, we don't want to make the wrong decision. I get that aspect, but I also challenge Ineos in that whole like not run to the wrong decision quote from Sir Jim. Like, you should be doing your diligence now so you know what the right decision is and you can run to it. It's possible to run to the right decision too, So do your diligence, get your analysis going, start putting out the feelers, start putting out the work. Get the business done early, back the manager, get him his squad before preseason. So Danny says, I'll pretend I didn't see that. It was a typo. It was a big typo. Danny says, me either. If it's a cheap deal like 25 mil, I'd probably take him. I mean, the question is, if it's a difference, 25 million could cost you someone like a Chirke or someone like a Mestantuono or something. Is that better? I would take Turkey before I would take Trincao. I would take Turkey before I would take someone like an Embuemo too, kind of thing. Things like that. So again, we're not going to have a lot of money to work with. We're going to need to prioritize, and it's going to have to look at, hey, if these two players are similar price, one is better, let's try to get that one. If this player that we maybe would be an extra kind of a bonus, but that means maybe we can't do what we want to do in this other area, then those are all decisions that we need to be mindful of. So again, not my job though. All I can do is sit and hope that we sign Arden Jashari. On attackers though, I saw a weird random rumor linking us with interest in another young Argentine player. This time is River Plate's 18-year-old Ian Subiabra, who he is on my list for scout reports. And I think Danny, you mentioned him a while back. I can't keep track of all the South America. I write them all down, but there's so many. And plus it's like every week we're linked with another South American player. But yes, Ian Subiabra we have been linked with. The rumor's not coming from any sort of major outlet or anything. I forget who the person is, but I saw it and I was like, that's interesting. But again, add them to the list of the long list of South American players that we are linked with, right? Danny says 100%. Yeah, I mean, transfer business is hard, especially when you're trying to. It can be a fun little challenge, right? Working within confines of PSR, things like trying to find good deals. Like I liked doing my summer rebuild video because you saw how much I could bring in. I brought in 6 players for like a total of like 130, 135 million. And none of them were on crazy big wages, and that doesn't even account for the money we were bringing in from like Rashford and whatnot. So I probably would have made money that season. That's this summer. Then he says, "Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I know you mentioned him once or twice. I think he's very similar. Yeah, like you're saying, very similar as like a Mastantuono or a Garnacho. Obviously, young winger, young attacker. I like the idea, right, of getting young players. He's young, same age as like Biancheri though. So is he better than Biancheri? Is he better than someone like a Shea Lacey or a Scanlon or something? Like these are the kind of questions we need to answer. So then it says Ian Subiera, probably the best attacker in under 20 South American Cup. Yeah, he had a couple goals in that cup, right? I think he had like 3 goals or something. So it's good to see us linked to young players. Obviously, this link wasn't from a major outlet, but I do like the young players that we're looking at, some of the young defenders we've been linked with recently, guys like Nippon, some of these young midfielders from like Belgium. And I think, who's that kid at, I want to say Feyenoord, the young midfielder we were linked with several months ago. I forget his name now. Starts with an M, I think. But yeah, it's good to see us looking to try to build for the future. Not every single player that from the academy, not any of these youngsters that we might sign is going to work out. That's normal, but we will do our due diligence and then we'll move them on if we need to. That's all we're going to do. So Dana says he'll probably go to Atletico Madrid. I'd say, yeah, that'd be smart business from Atletico, right? I mean, get basically the next Garnacho instead of paying big to bring Garnacho back. It's just a question of, do Atleti want the finished article or do they want to do? I mean, they could take Garnacho back. Some people right now are happy to sell Garnacho if it came down to it, but that's another story for another day, right? But yeah, Atletico, I'm more interested to see what happens with Simeone this summer. So they're probably going to be losing a few players. I'm sure Griezmann, I mean, he's probably going to be going to MLS sometime soon. I know he wants to go to the MLS. So Griezmann was one that I was very upset by. Not getting Griezmann. I thought he was I even bet Justin a beer that we would sign him, and then he ultimately changed his mind. So what are you going to do? Danny says, yeah, he's a level ahead of Biancheri, more first-team experience. Yeah. And that was like the difference maker for like Nippon for me over Mastantuono is because Nippon has been a first-team regular for Rosenborg for years now, and he's only 18, only just turned 18. So that does make a difference to me. So, and finally, have you seen this bullshit recently? I forget. I think it was like the overlap or something. But they had sat down and these people actually debating who was better, Cristiano Ronaldo or Mo Salah, when it came to Premier League. And I almost just had to turn it off. I turned it off eventually. I didn't finish watching it. It's just when I'm watching something like that, and I'm the whole time I'm just doing this and laughing more than anything else. Like. That's it's just a bunch of total garbage. I'm not gonna go into the other stuff that I've seen other channels do when it comes to Ronaldo and Salah, because to me it's not a debate. But I know some people are like, look at how young the people are who are debating this. They're like in their mid-20s, so they would have been like 10 when Ronaldo was doing his thing. Trophies, stats, you can look at it all, but that's all academic. We know all that. Like, to me, that's why I don't think it's a debate. But to me, I'll add another layer, and Justin and I were talking about this the other day. Look at the difference in the Premier League in like 07, 08 and the Premier League now. Look at the difference in rules, the difference in VAR, the quality in defenders. If you look at the quality of defenders back in 2007, 2008 versus the quality of defenders now that Mo Salah is playing against, it is night and day difference. Mo Salah, like their attackers are protected now more than they've ever been. Literally, you look at an attacker wrong, and you know that the ref's calling it a foul. How many penalties has Mo Salah dived to win? Ronaldo used to get mullered week in week. You guys remember Phil Neville just going in on him when we played Everton? Like, that doesn't happen now. And if it does, it's straight red to the defender. Ronaldo had no VAR, no ref protection. The defenders were 100 times better back then. I mean, and this is the other thing too. You could airdrop 07, 08 Cristiano Ronaldo into the Premier League now, like you're playing Fortnite or something, and he would be 10 times better now than even he was back then, simply because of the difference in the league. You took now Mo Salah, even in his best season ever, and dropped him back in 07, 08, put him up against no VAR, no added protection from the refs, and against actual defenders like Rio, Vidic. Can you imagine Vidic, Mo Salah? Like, come on, you're getting destroyed, bro. And even then, Ronaldo came back to the league when he was 37 and still bagged 18 goals. He still led the league on the second half of that first season in goals. So the debate is not even a debate. It's barely even worth a sentence. Like, Salah's not better. He's not better than Cantona. He's not better than Giggs. He's not better than David Beckham. Salah's just not. So Liverpool fans can continue to try this cognitive dissonance to try to make themselves feel better now that Trent's leaving and they might lose Salah. And that's the other thing. If word comes out that Mo Salah has decided to leave at the end of the season for free, just like Trent, you're going to see this. I want to see how many of these people sat here and defended Mo Salah to the hilt. I want to see if they're burning Mo Salah jerseys if that announcement comes out, just like they've been burning Trent Alexander jerseys. Are they going to call Mo Salah a Judas if he decides to leave? For less money, by the way. It's absolute joke, man. It's absolute jokes. Leonard says, should United be buying these young players for first team or promote 4 or so players and then replace them in the under 18s, under 21s? Well, it's difficult, right? I think that it's a difference in leagues, right? Because we bought players, youngsters, like Sekou Kone was playing first team football, but he's playing first team football in Mali. And I think he's 20, Sekou Kone. James Overy, he was playing first team in Australia, and he played the other day, but he's down in the first team. I could easily see someone like Mastantuono and Nipan spending like a little bit of time with the under 21s if they needed to. I'm not saying I would, but I wouldn't surprise me if they did for a hot second. So it would be the difference in leagues, because you could bring in like a 17-year-old Erling Haaland, for instance, when he was still already bagging goals for Salzburg, and you wouldn't throw him in the academy. So I'm not trying to like make fun of anything on Lionhearts. It's a difference to me in leagues, because like, again, playing as a 19-year-old playing in Mali versus like a 19-year-old playing like Champions League football, like for like Club Brugge or something, very, very different. And so it would just depend on the player, I think. So Amir, welcome to the channel. I think Amorim is good. If he gets the players he wants, I think they will be a very good team. I agree. I think that Amorim's he's going to be very high, much more demanding than I think we've seen in some ways. We already know the players aren't fit, and his system requires a lot. Like, he can't have passengers, whether you're playing in one of the 10 roles, the wingback roles, or in that pivot. You can't just say, well, I'm a 6, so it's not my job to do this, or I'm a 10, so it's not my job. Everyone's got to pitch in on and off the ball. It's total football to the T. You have to be able to do a little bit of everything. The wingbacks, you got to be able to get up and down the pitch. That requires fitness. It requires pace, physicality in those midfield roles, press resistance, ball progression. You've got to be able to do it all. Even center backs. It's not just enough to say, well, my job is to make these clearances. No, you have to be decent on the ball. And that doesn't mean you just force people to get better. You're not going to force Harry Maguire to turn into Leacha on the ball, but it's about, again, like you're saying, getting players for that system. So we'll see. What I don't want to see is it go too much in the Pep route where the players are just robots and there's no room for expression, no room for freedom, no room for spontaneity, and a little bit of flair. I like being able to do that. So finding that balance, right? But big up, Amir. Good to see a new face on the channel. But you guys, let me know what you think of this Salah Ronaldo bullcrap debate. I saw that and I was just like, this is what football. This is. Tell me it's international break without telling me it's international break, right? This is the kind of stuff we're suggested to. Although I can't speak, I did a fun what if video because that's what international break has resorted to. But in any case, that's it for me on the news. Let me check this Middlesbrough score to see if Hayden Hackney is doing his thing, because you guys know I love Hayden Hackney. No, they are down 1-0, but Hackney's actually having a decent game. He's got the most passes completed and stuff. So interesting. 1 out of 1 tackles, 1 out of 2 ground duels, 1 out of 1 long balls. So big up Hackney. Hackney's kind of carrying that team, unfortunately, and he can't really do enough. So, but you guys let me know what you think of some of that news, some of the transfer links, some of the injury updates. Are you excited for these youngsters to be getting first pro contracts, jumping in with first team training? Arden Jashari links. Again, not trying to get too excited, but you guys know that I do love Arden Jashari. And then some of these strikers. I mean, we've been linked to pretty much every striker that's having a decent season. So it's going to be a very interesting summer. It's going to be a very, very important summer for a lot of aspects of this club, right? It's going to be important for Ineos. They've got a lot to do in order to convince the fans that they're not just another Glazer. Important for Amorim, try to get his players in. Important for the players who are here to try to prove that they can hang. And important for the players who aren't part of the system. They've got to get moved on. So it's probably one of the most important summers we're going to have in a long time. In Ineos, we have to get it right. We can't afford too many of these Ten Hag Ashworth style mistakes where we stick with something and then we change our minds a couple months later. We have to do our due diligence. So I just hope that we're putting the work in now. We're putting out the feelers. We're talking to agents. We're talking to clubs. We're getting it done. And I hope we get some business done early so Amorim can get his club for preseason. And hopefully we can get some players out the door. I don't want to see us get dragged into another situation like Wan-Bissaka or McTominay where we're spending all summer not able to bring in one player because we have to sell like Rashford first. Like, just get it done. Like, I don't care what needs to happen. Be more aggressive. Tell Rashford and his agent, listen, you don't want to be here. We need the money. Get out of the club, basically. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just when a player says they want to leave, then I'm done. So, but let me know what you guys think. Big up everybody for joining the channel. Good to see Amir, new face. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Go check out some of those recent videos. The What If video. Dylan and I did some exciting videos early on last week with the kickstart of the international break, looking at all of our signings post-Fergie and ranking those, looking at all our managers post-Fergie and ranking those. If you haven't yet gone and checked those out, please do. And then, yes, like the video, please, on your way out. It does help the channel. Subscribe if you're new to get us on the road to 3K. We are cruising right along. And then check those membership perks. If you guys want to learn a little bit how you can have a say in the content, whether that's the what ifs, scouting reports, the questions from a boot. You guys know when I grab a little question from here and we go through it together. And then keep a lookout for some fun stuff coming to the channel too to help us all kind of look the part, if that makes sense. Spoiler alert. So in any case, take it easy, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.